Artio, whose name means bear in Gaulish, was a Celtic goddess of wild bears in the rugged alpine regions of Europe. Her cult flourished in Switzerland and some areas of Luxembourg and Germany between the Iron Age and Roman era. The Helvetti and Treveri paid homage to Artio as the patron deity of a bear cult. Devotees may have worshipped the goddess in the form of a divine she-bear. Artio's otherworldly spirit took the guise of a sacred bear wandering over the mountains and wooded valleys of the Alps. Bern in Switzerland was the center of Artio's cult during the Gallo-Roman era. A follower called Licinia Sabanilla offered a group of 6 bronze statues to the goddess Artio at Mauri, near Bern, between the 2nd or 3rd centuries AD. The statues depicted Artio alongside the Roman deities, Jupiter, Juno, Minerva and Alar. Naria, the Gaulish goddess of luck, was also part of the group. The sculpture of Artio showed her as a young woman sitting in a chair with fruit in her lap. She also held a bowl of fruit in her right hand. Fruit was a familiar symbol of prosperity and abundance in the Celtic territories. According to Miranda Green, Celtic mother goddesses were often associated with fruit to emphasize their benevolent power over nature and the fertility of the land. Artio was depicted as a benign goddess who offered fruit to a large bear. The bear, which climbed down from a nearby tree, was the sacred animal of her cult. Bears were thought to embody the mystical spirit of Artio in the Swiss Alps. The inscription at the base of the statue read, "For the goddess Artio, Licinia Sabanilla dedicates this offering." The Muri statuette group were the sacred objects of a Romano-Celtic shrine, attached to a private villa at Mauri in Switzerland. Bear cults were prevalent in Switzerland since prehistoric times. Archaeologists discovered the remains of 30,000 bears dating to the Neolithic era at the Drachenloch caves in the canton of Bern. Some of the bones and skulls were fashioned into altars. Neolithic hunters may have performed rituals at the bear shrines. They invoked the strength and ferocity of bears before setting out on the chase. A stone box containing 7 bear skulls was placed at the entrance of the cave. The spirits of the bears guarded the passageways against intruders. Bear worship was widespread in Europe between the Bronze Age and Roman era. The Celts believed the human-like characteristics of bears were mystical signs of their connection to the otherworld. Their adeptness at climbing trees, walking on 2 limbs, and their love of salmon and honey affirmed their status as the sacred animals of the otherworld. Wild bears embodied the Druidic teachings about the eternal cycles of life, death, and rebirth. Their winter hibernation resembled death, with their magical rebirth taking place during the warmth of spring. The bears' fondness for caves affirmed their mystical connection to the deities and ancestral spirits in the underworld. The association of bears with spring and the underworld affirmed their influence over fertility. Warriors admired the strength and ferocity of wild bears during battles. The devotees of Artio believed bears were sacred animals of the gods and goddesses in the otherworld. The divine power and protection of Artio resembled the fierce instincts of a mother bear safeguarding her cubs. Hunters sought the divine protection of Artio and the bear deities during the pursuit of dangerous wild animals in their natural habitat. The Helvetii were devotees of bear cults before migrating to Switzerland in the final centuries BC. They paid homage to Artio as a local goddess of bears at an oppidum on the site of the present-day city of Bern. They built the settlement in the mountains of the Enge Peninsula in the 2nd century BC. Julius Caesar subdued the Helvetii during the conquest of Gaul in 52 BC. In 22 BC, Emperor Tiberius carried out military campaigns that resulted in the annexation of the Alpine regions of northern Gaul. The Romans later named the province Germania Superior. The Roman town of Brennadurham was built on the site of the oppidum of the Helvetii at Bern in the late 1st century BC. Bern, which means bear in German, still maintains a strong connection with bears. The image of a bear is prominently displayed on the canton's flag. Sadly, bears were hunted to extinction in Switzerland. Hunters killed the last wild bear in 1904. The Treveri also paid homage to Artio as a tribal goddess. Their large territory encompassed vast areas of Luxembourg, Belgium and Germany. A follower called Biber dedicated an inscription to Artio at Weilerbach. The town of Weilerbach was near the capital of the Treveri at Trier. Inscriptions were also discovered at Daun and in Stockstad in Germany. Miranda Aldhausgreen noted the Treveri carved the name of the goddess Artio on the rocky cliffs of the Bollendorf Valley in the Moselle. The Celtic goddess Andarta was also associated with bear cults in France and Switzerland. Andarta, meaning Great Bear, was the tribal goddess of the Vocanti in the Alpine regions of southeastern France. The Vocanti dedicated 7 inscriptions to the local Gaulish goddess, Andarta, at Die in the Drôme department of southern France. The town of Die is located in the valley of the Drôme River. The cluster of inscriptions suggested devotees worshipped the goddess, Dia Augusta Andarta, at a temple in the town. An inscription also paid homage to Andarta at Bern in Switzerland. The Celtic gods, Arteus and Matudinus, were the male counterparts of Artio in Gaul and Switzerland. The Romans paired the Celtic bear gods with Mercury, their god of trade, travelers, luck and the underworld. A votive inscription honored Mercurius Arteus as a local god at Beaucressant in the Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes region of southeastern France. Beaucressant is 300 kilometers, or 186 miles, from Bern in Switzerland. The Celtic god, Matudinus, was a deity of a bear cult in Germany and Switzerland. 2 inscriptions honored the Gallo-Roman god, Mercurius Matudinus at Baden in Switzerland. Baden was known as the spa town of Aquae Helveticae in the Roman era. The Romans visited the thermal mineral springs at Aquae Helveticae in the belief the waters had healing powers. The Romans paired Matudinus with Caesonius, the Gallic god of trade. A devotee dedicated an altar and votive inscription to Mercurius Caesonius Matudinus at Pramontagno in Switzerland during the 3rd century AD. Matudinus transformed from a Gaulish deity of bears to becoming a Gallo-Roman god of commerce and travelers. The Gallo-Roman god, Mercurius Matudinus, was the focus of devotion on an inscription at Augsburg in Germany during the 1st century AD. Scholars agree the Romano-British god, Matinus, was another incarnation of the Gaulish deity, Matudinus. The Roman soldiers stationed at High Rochester in Northumberland dedicated a votive inscription to Matinus in the 3rd century AD. Artio and the deities of bear cults blessed nature and humanity with strength and fertility. The divine protection of Artio mirrored the fierce defense of a she-bear safeguarding her cubs. Bears, the sacred animals of her cult, symbolized her primal power over life, death and rebirth in the rugged terrain of the Swiss Alps. Our WordPress blog, Legends of Love in Celtic Mythology, delves into the world of the Celtic gods and goddesses in Britain, Ireland and Europe. You can find an in-depth discussion of the Celtic woodland deities in Green Man, the gods of sacred trees and forests on Amazon.